Hey Cadillac fans, Daniel here, and today we're talking about spoilers. So whether you've got a base model, a V Sport, or the mighty CTS-V, you may be considering either replacing or just upgrading your spoiler on your car. Well, today I'm going to tell you about all the options for your third gen Cadillac CTS and which spoilers are compatible with which model. Everything up next. Now, I can't tell you how many times I've seen on the Facebook groups or the forums, hey, can I upgrade my spoiler on my CTS to get that carbon fiber one that the CTS-V has? And yes, you can, but there are some details you need to know. And there's a bunch of spoilers out there available, some a lot cheaper than that Cadillac carbon fiber spoiler. So I'm going to tell you about all the differences in the spoilers today, as well as those compatibility issues. All the details are in the description below, including part numbers and links to the spoilers if necessary. So be sure to check out the description below. All right, so let's get started. First, let's talk about the base model CTSs. And I'm not just talking about a 2.0 CTS or a base model V Sport, also the base model CTS-V. They both have their own base spoiler. For example, on the CTS-V Sport and all the other CTSs that are not CTS-V, they all come with a flat panel that sits on the trunk just above the third brake light. And you have to be careful because if you're on eBay, you might see that somebody advertises a CTS spoiler when it's really just that flat panel. There's no rise or anything, so it's not really a spoiler. So don't buy one of those until you've confirmed that it actually has some definition to it. So that's the one you probably got in your car. But if you have a CTS-V, the base model, not the carbon edition, you probably have something very similar, except the CTS-V's base spoiler is flat, except right at the trailing edge, there's sort of a ducktail, I like to call it, just a little bit of a raised lip. And it may even look a lot like the one here on my car, but it's actually different. So whether you have the CTS-V base or the other CTS base spoiler, you may be looking to upgrade. So what options are available? Well, let's start with the OEM options. First of all, there's the OEM GM accessory spoiler, or like I like to call it, the blade spoiler. It's this one here. It's got a nice rise above the brake light, and it's kind of just sort of a wedge blade shape, and it gives it sort of a Euro sporty look, not big bad like the carbon fiber CTS-V one. You'll also notice that it doesn't go the full length of the trunk lid. It just goes about 6 inches beyond each end of the brake light. This is available either when you order your car or buy it from the dealer and have them install it, or you can just order this from a number of GM parts suppliers like 404parts.com. They've got these spoilers for about $360 at the time of this video, and it comes pre-paint matched to the color of your car, and it's actually pretty easy to install yourself. What I like about it is it's an OEM product, so you know it's going to be of reasonably good quality, and it's going to match. There's one thing to watch out for though with this blade spoiler, and that is that on the ends here, it does tend to flex under aerodynamic load. And when those ends flex downward, they rub against the trunk and they start to chip the paint. Yeah, that sucks. So it's important when you install one of these blade spoilers that you raise it up a little bit with maybe an extra O-ring around all the bolt holes, just to give it a couple more millimeters of clearance so that when the air's hitting it and you're doing 150 in your CTS, that it doesn't flex all the way down to touching the trunk. So just keep that in mind. Also, for jet fuel only subscribers, there is a special promo code you can use at 404parts.com to get a discount on one of these blade spoilers. Be sure to look for it in the description below, but it won't be there forever. It's just a limited time. All right, so that's the GM accessory spoiler, but what if you want to get the GM carbon fiber spoiler, that one that comes in the carbon edition CTS-V? That thing is big, it's bad, it's beautiful. And it's a really nice piece of carbon fiber with book matched weave. That means it's split right down the middle symmetrically. It looks really nice. But because it's so nice and it's from the dealership basically, you're gonna pay a pretty penny for it. If you go straight through the dealer, you're gonna pay about $2,300 for that carbon fiber spoiler. But you can get it from GM wholesalers like 404parts.com for as little as maybe $1,600. So that's a little better, but it's a lot of money and not everybody's up for that. Okay, but maybe that's just a little too expensive for your pocketbook. Let's look at the aftermarket options where there are some cheaper alternatives. First of all, a spoiler you may not find anymore was the D3 spoiler. D3 Cadillac used to be an aftermarket supplier for Cadillac parts, more in the CTS-V timeline, but their customer service probably is why they are no longer around. I had the opportunity to buy one of these spoilers. They were unfortunately rather expensive at almost $500, totally unfinished, needed so much work and to be painted, but I really liked the look. Unfortunately, I've actually sold this one off already and it's off to a new home. So look for those, but you would be really lucky to find one. On to something that maybe you can get. Savage Cadillac, we all know, has great aftermarket parts for the CTS, ATS, and CT6, and of course they have spoilers. And there's been a few for the CTS in the past couple years, but right now there's currently only the V2 or version 2 spoiler, and it comes in carbon fiber or unpainted, and you can get it painted, and it has a unique look. And I've seen it in person on the B2 Bomber CTS, and it actually looks really good. Unfortunately, this spoiler won't be around much longer. He's running out the last of the batch and there won't be any more of them. But there is something great coming from Savage actually coming back, and that is the wicker bill spoiler. It looks a lot like the CTS-V carbon spoiler, but even more aggressive. And I really like the looks of it. He's probably gonna have it in carbon fiber as well as just the plastic or fiberglass version. So be on the look for that because he's gonna be releasing it here this November of 2020, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that spoiler come back. Now, just like with 404 Parts, Savage and I have a great deal for you. You can get a special discount if you're a jet fuel only subscriber. Just use the promo code found in the description below when you buy a spoiler at Savage Cadillac. Again, it's a limited time offer, so that promo may disappear. Now, another popular spoiler option that's not as aggressive as, say, a Savage Cadillac spoiler is the Dawn or eBay spoiler. Of course, you can find it on eBay, but I've definitely seen it on carid.com. It's made by a company called Dawn, and they come ABS plastic, painted to match your vehicle, goes on with double-sided tape, and it looks a lot like the blade spoiler I have here, but it continues all the way to the edges of the trunk. So it's a little wider, but it's definitely not too aggressive. It looks really good on the car, and everyone that's had one has been really happy with it. They say the paint matches and the quality of the paint is really good. You can get the spoiler for about $280. Also on carid.com is the T5i spoiler. And honestly, I don't know from the pictures if I can tell the difference between the Dawn and the T5i spoiler, but they are technically different. The T5i isn't ABS plastic, it's fiberglass. It also goes on with double stick tape. It also expands all the way across the trunk lid, unlike this blade spoiler. And it's about $170 because you can get it not painted in case maybe you want to wrap it or something. But you can get it painted to match your car for about $290. Next is a popular alternative to the carbon fiber CTS-V spoiler. Remember, that one from Cadillac is really expensive. Well, EOS, or Extreme Online Store, they sell on Amazon and eBay. They have an imported version of the carbon fiber spoiler, and it's made of real carbon fiber and it's pretty darn cheap. So cheap though that you probably get some sacrifice in quality. I would say at least half of these spoilers come with defects, whether it be the weave is kind of messed up or the clear epoxy over it's kind of wavy, or maybe it just doesn't fit right or has damage, and that's unfortunate, but you do get what you pay for, and well, it does look good from a few feet away no matter what. Thankfully, their customer service seems to be okay, and you can send it back if there's any problems. They're actually located near me here in Fremont, California, so if you live in the area, you can go directly to them and save on shipping. Now, they make two versions of the CTS-V replica carbon fiber spoiler. One is stick-on, as in double-sided tape. And I'm not sure if I've really seen that one lately. It's been kind of a mix because they show up and they run out, and they show up and they run out. But they also have a batch that comes out that is bolt-on. It's bolt-on just like the CTS-V's actual carbon fiber spoiler. And that's kind of nice because it's a little more secure. There's been at least one person who's had their stick-on one peeled off and stolen, unfortunately. Now, if you want to take your chances with the EOS spoiler, it's about $350 or so. I can't remember if that includes shipping. And like I said, sometimes they come out really nice and people are really happy with the product. Now lastly, there's one more option to replace your carbon fiber V spoiler or to upgrade one, and that is through Weapon X. They have a ton of great performance parts for the CTS-V as well as aero parts like the spoiler. It's a pretty good quality carbon fiber piece, I hear, and it even comes with the book matched weave, so it's symmetrical down the middle. It looks a lot like the OEM one with OEM quality, and it's like half the price at only about $700 plus shipping. So that is a great alternative if you don't want to pay GM for their very expensive carbon fiber spoiler. Now, I've talked about the prices with these spoilers. Remember, they are considered oversized items, so you may end up paying $75 to $100 or so just to have them shipped out. So keep that in mind and investigate if shipping is included in the prices. Okay, so now the big question. Can you upgrade? Will it even fit? Can you put that badass carbon fiber spoiler on your base model CTS with your 2-liter engine? Yes, you can, and it will look pretty good. I mean, you really should have that cowl hood and the splitters from Savage Cadillac to really set it off, but yes, you can do that upgrade, but here's what you need to know. From my research, it seems that the base model CTS-V and the base CTS models, like the 2.0, the 3.6, and the V Sport, they all come with a center brake light that has studs like impressed into it. And so the brake light sits down on top of the trunk and the studs go through the holes in the trunk. And then that fake spoiler, that flat piece, or on the CTS-V base model, the one with the ducktail, it is double-sided tape stuck onto that. On the CTS-V with the carbon edition, the brake light is actually different. And basically you run bolts through the trunk and sandwich the brake light between the spoiler and the trunk, and it gets bolted in. So if you have a base model CTS-V or base model CTS, you can't just get that OEM Cadillac spoiler because you have these studs in the way. You could simply cut the studs off, drill them out, and then you have holes to mount that carbon spoiler on. Or you can buy the brake light that goes with the carbon spoiler for about $100. There's of course the part number in the description below, and then it all goes together. So those are your two main options. You can either drill out those studs and make holes, or get the right brake light that has holes to bolt in the spoiler. But there is actually one more alternative. If you have this spoiler, the blade spoiler, well, it turns out that this piece and the brake light are totally separate, and they can just come apart after you remove it from the trunk. And this brake light right here, it has holes in it to accept the carbon fiber OEM CTS-V spoiler. So that's one way. If you want to upgrade from this one, it's an easy upgrade. If you want to upgrade from the super flat piece, well, you're gonna have to either cut and drill or get a new brake light. Now, when you do upgrade your spoiler, there is one thing I recommend you do. Make sure all the pins and bolts that go in through the trunk are sealed with some sort of neoprene, rubber, or O-ring to keep water from flowing into the trunk. That has been reported as an issue, so that's one thing you really need to make sure to do, is all holes leading to the trunk need to have some sort of sealed circle around it, whether it be just some gasket material or, you know, rubber O-rings or something like that. All right, that's it to upgrading the spoilers. I've covered all the possibilities you have, and compatibility, yes, you can run any 3rd gen spoiler on any 3rd gen CTS, but the brake light is the issue. Make sure you have the right brake light or drill holes in it if you're gonna bolt it on. I honestly don't suggest a stick-on CTS-V carbon fiber spoiler. You're gonna have to use a lot of adhesive, and I don't think it's gonna be quite as strong as the bolt-on one, but that's just my opinion. All right, I hope you enjoyed this. If you learned something, hit that like button and be sure to subscribe, and of course hit the bell to be notified of my next video coming out. I will be having a how-to to install the blade spoiler in the next coming weeks, and that will be useful no matter what spoiler you're installing, so at least you understand how this all goes together. All right, thanks for watching the Jeff Viola channel. I'll see you next time.